What's going on, my dudes? Chensley11 here, and welcome back to another episode in the A to Z series, where we are going through every single champion in League of Legends and giving you a basic or beginner's guide on each of them. In today's episode, we're going to be showing you how to play Lux Support for beginners. So, Lux traditionally was a mid laner. She's a very iconic champion of League of Legends. She's been around for a very long time, and slowly she's made her way down into support role. She has a little bit of support in her kit with her W, and we'll get to that in a moment when we go through the abilities with more detail. But she's always been a mid laner, whereas in the last maybe 2-3 seasons, I reckon, she's just transferred down into the bot lane as a support. And it's basically because she has high base damage, and her snare is a very good setup. Her auto attacks are quite strong early, and you can kind of snowball games very fast. And this is a game I played the other day, and it's a very good example of how to snowball a game with Lux. And I think Lux is good for beginners in the sense that it gets you understanding how a mage works. Obviously relies heavily on abilities. She's not the easiest mage to play. All 4 of her abilities are skill shots. So if you're not good with trying to aim your abilities, Lux might take a while to get used to, but after that she becomes very fun. I think she's high damage, high reward, feels good when you hit an ability. Her ultimate is on such a low cooldown if you're not sure. Final Spark. So I think Lux is a fantastic champion. And let's get into more of the video and the guide. So basically, as I always say with support, leash your jungler. So go help him take out the first buff, and then make your way to the bot lane with your ADC. Obviously starting Spell Thief's Edge and the health potions. And then in the early game, we're up against Renata, and I remember this is the first ever game I played against Renata without even looking at what she did. So if you see me get hit by something weird I should have dodged, it's because I have no idea what she's doing, but we still managed to do well this game. We got a Misfortune ADC, and we're playing against a Draven. So 2 quite aggressive ADCs early. I'm not sure if Renata's more of an early or late game support. Yeah, I got to do some research on her. But anyway, we seem to have a very good lane, and then we can transfer that into some damage in the mid game and win the game. So yeah, basically the early game we can see me doing is making sure to poke as much as you can. Now, the reason why you want to poke early is obviously to stack up your Spell Thief, and then obviously it's also important to keep dominance in the lane. It helps your ADC farm. So whenever I play a mage support, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to poke and get some damage in and get some money for myself. Now, Lux is one of the most unique. Is one of the unique supports where you protect your ADC by killing the other ADC. It's kind of weird. She isn't a traditional support, right? She's a mid laner. So what she does is she tries to kill things, right? So she does a lot of damage with her ability power or magic. So your role, although her W is a shield and then can protect your ADC, is to actually just keep everyone low and maybe give your ADC some kills, right, to get them fed. When you're both playing early game champs like Misfortune and Lux, it doesn't really matter. As long as one of you guys gets fed, you can convert around the map, roam, and push your leads elsewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go through the level up order, and then we're going to go through the runes and then the build, right? So the level up order is so you know what to take: level 1, level 2, level 3, and so on. So level 1, you want to take your E. So E, I'll quickly go through the abilities. We're going to go through them all in much more detail. But E sends out a spell that puts like a circle on the ground. Then when you recast it, it explodes. So you want to start that level 1. You want to take your Q level 2, which is the ability I just used. It sends out a snare in a line, and it snares the first 2 targets hit. And then again, we'll go through this in much more detail later. And then W is your shield. You want to take that level 3. Sends out a shield. It comes back to your shields both ways, out and in. Then you want to max your E first. So take that every point you can. You want to max your Q second, max your W last, and then you want to take a point in your ultimate whenever you can. And that's just a big laser beam that will destroy everyone. So, fantastic abilities for a mage. I think she can do a lot of work in support. She can get fed in the bot lane, where basically also what happens is in mid lane, a lot of the champions that play mid have high base magic resist, okay? So they can sustain through the magic damage, whereas in the bot lane, they have more armor. They tend to have more armor. Therefore, Lux can do a bit more damage. So, especially in the early games, level 1 to 3 and so on. You can see we've dominated this lane I'm not sure if the CS advantage on my ADC is showing yet, but we've almost got a tower plate, and Draven is almost dead. So if we had our ultimate, we might have been able to snipe him there, but we're only level 4. So let's get into the runes, guys. We'll throw them up on the screen. So the runes, you want to take Arcane Comet. Again, helps you with the poke. Sends out the comet that lands and does damage. Mana Flow Band, obviously good. You need, as a mage, you want mana. It's good for the early game. Transcendence gives you ability haste. Lux is all about CDR, or cooldown reduction. You want to get as many spells out as you can. CDR on a mage translates to damage as long as you have the mana for it. Scorch, again, as soon as you hit a spell, they take burn damage, right? So that also synergizes what we're trying to do in the lane. And then you want to go Biscuit Delivery and Cosmic Insight. Biscuit Delivery, again, keeps your mana high. A lot of people... And then if it's a lane where they're actually poking back, the Biscuits will help you sustain in the lane and stay longer. And they'll also give you the mana. Whereas if it's a lane like this where you're just dominating, it'll be great for the mana sustain, because you get a bit of mana. Let's have a look here. And then we also go Cosmic Insight. So summon a spell haste and item haste. So because we're going to be taking Zhonya's second item, which we'll go through in a moment, it's fantastic. Plus, you get your flash and your ignite up more often. It's fantastic. So yeah, Biscuits restore 10% of your missing health and mana. So it's better to use them when you're low, because you get more, right? So I think the mana's capped at 50 or something. I can't remember. But either way, 50 mana every time you pop a biscuit is fantastic. Okay, so we hit level, what was that, level 5 again. So you take a point in your E whenever you can. So next, we're going to be going through the build quickly. And I mentioned the starting items already at the beginning of the game, but that's Spell Thief, Edge, and 2 pots. You want to take your Stealth Ward to start with, but then you want to transition into a... That's a sucky Q. You want to transition into your Sweeper relatively quickly, especially when you can figure out or see that you're poking a lot and you're getting your stacks built up really quickly on your Spell Thief. That way you can get your free wards, and then you get Sweeper as well, so the jungler can gank because you can clear vision like I just did there. So you can see, sweep the bush, nothing in there. Now we know the jungler can gank if he would like. We'll put a ward there to keep ourselves safe. So yeah, and then with summoner spells as well, Ignite and Flash, as always, take Flash. Ignite is good for when you're trying to play aggressive like we are in this game. However, you can go Exhaust if they have like a bit of a jump on your backline sort of assassin or something like that to keep your ADC safe, or even like a barrier if they got like a Z or some burst assassin as well. You could do it, either work. But for me, Ignite is the most efficient. So you can see they're throwing out your W's when you can, but you can see what we're doing. We're just trying to snare whenever we can, and we just line up 2 and just zap them with our ultimate. So that was the ultimate as well. When we go through all the abilities in more detail, I'll put an example of each of the abilities as well. So all that pressure in the lane has led to us being able to, gain an item advantage by getting back, and then we eventually turn into 2 kills, and then we're going to snowball from here. So you can see how it works. If you put pressure on the lane early and get a lead, and therefore you can go back and get an item lead, you can usually turn that into more kills, which leads to more item lead, and then so on and so forth. You can see how the snowball works. But let's go through the build, right? I didn't really go through it. So early items, you can go the Blasting Wand and Boots. Now, I tend to get Lost Chapter if I can afford it and I'm having a good game, just because I like more the CDR and the mana sustain. But you can get the Blasting One for more out-and-out damage. If you're finding it hard to hit abilities, then Blasting One might be better, because when you hit the ability, it hits harder, if that makes sense. But Lost Chapter is fantastic if you got the money for it, essentially. So you'll get your Shard of True Ice when you level up your warding item or your support item. That'll happen naturally. You want to rush Sorcery Boots whenever you can. And you want to get Luden's Tempest, which is your first item. Second item, you want to go Zhonya's Hourglass. Third item, you can go Horizon Focus, and then Merlinomicon. So we got a gank here from the Xin Zhao. He ults and ends up sending the Renata backwards. Looks like they got the ADC, so I just put my ultimate right in her face and just demolish her mouth with my ultimate. So you can see here now, because we have a lead, the jungler recognizes that and starts ganking, right? So it all comes part and parcel once you get a lead early. And to be honest, most of the time for laning in bot lane, it's up to the support really to control the lane. In most instances, sometimes it's the ADC they would like to control, but if you want to win lane as a support and you're playing an aggressive one like Lux where you can take kills and do damage, then you need to control the lane. You need to do the damage, you need to carry the lane, because usually the ADC is useless early. MF is a little bit of an exception. She can actually hold her own pretty early because of her Qs. But you can see here we transition to mid as well and we take another kill after we get Dragon. So this game is going really, really well. We're 2-0 and 3. We're getting nice and fed. We're helping the jungler out. We've got a Dragon for our team. The MF's getting fed. So far, so good. So that's the runes, the build, and the abilities. Now we're going to start going through Lux's abilities and her passive and whatnot. So we're going to go through everything in a lot more detail. We're going to put examples up on the top left corner. We'll just have the gameplay obviously going in the background. You can just see we're just trying to get away from the Draven. We have to flash to match his flash, but then it looks like the MF's going to be able to take it out, even though maybe if they exhausted earlier, they might have been able to kill the MF, but thankfully they didn't, and we end up being okay. A little bit aggressive for me. I got a bit caught out there, but it ended up working out okay. The jungler was here to back us up anyway. Even if we both died, probably would have got both of them. So let's go through the abilities. So, and I will just say, before we go through the abilities, the damage Lux can output is absolutely devastating, guys. And the ultimate CDR is absolutely insane. Watch this. I don't know how I didn't get the kill. That's sad. But yeah, your ultimate is not global, but it is very high range, right? So you can impact a lot of fights. Xinjiao's in a lot of trouble here. You can impact a lot of fights and from everywhere on the map, right? You can steal dragons. So Lux is a very good utility mage to have on your team, right? She also has a bit of slow in her kit. The snares are fantastic for picks. So before I get into the abilities, I will say this quickly. A little bit about, Lux's identity. She's a mage, right? But she's a burst mage. So burst mages do well when they have built-in CC. And obviously Lux does with her Q. And we'll go through that in a moment. So when you're playing Lux and you're fed, you really, really need to focus on vision. Vision is key. Vision will get you more kills than you just skillfully hitting a skill shot. If you have a bush control watered or watered and it's sweeped and there's no one, they don't have vision of it. By the way, the Shen, I do remember this, they left. So we thought, oh God, we're fed, but this could be a little bit of a tough game because the Shen leaves, and that's why this game is a little bit long, hence the video is a little bit long, but that's fine. But what I'm saying is when you can sit in a bush and know that they don't have vision of you, you can line up your Q and it's impossible to miss when they're walking into you, right? So, and then you can hit them with your combo, which is, the Q, E, R, and absolutely murder everything, right? So Lux is very good into Fog of War. She's very good into bushes. So you need to play her like that. And I hope there's some good examples of that in this game. But if not, get vision of a bush, stick in the bush around objectives where you know they're going to be coming and wait for them to come. Hit them with a bind, hit them with the E, hit them with the ultimate. And you can usually one-shot squishy champions that aren't paying attention very, very, like in one spell rotation. That's fantastic from the MF. Nice aggression there to get the kill on the Draven. So let's go through the passive as we get the first tower. You can just walk right up to the Renata to guarantee the snare. And then I'm trying to let the MF take it. Another kill for the MF. So we're doing very, very well. 7 assists. So, we have got a couple kills, but 7 assists means we're providing a lot of help for our team to get them fed. So very, very good balance, right? You get a couple kills for yourself, but make sure you get your team ahead. So we're going to go through the passive, which is called Illumination. Lux's damaging abilities, that's the Q, E, and ultimate. Mark enemies with light for 6 seconds. So you can see the light is on top of the singed as I hit him with the E there. And basically what it means is once... Bang, we got him. Once the... they have light on them, Lux's basic attacks or their ultimate, okay? So Lux's basic attacks or Final Spark, the ultimate, will consume the mark, so it'll use the mark and explode it, dealing 20 to 190 based on level bonus magic damage, and that scales with 20% of your ability power. So basically, what you can do is hit an ability, auto attack, hit an ability, auto attack like that. So you can weave in auto attacks like that. And that'll pop the light. So you can see on Renata, there's like that green star glistening on top of her head. That means she has light on top of her. So you can see there's one on the set now. So when I auto attack him, I didn't. Usually you should auto attack. When you auto attack or use the ultimate to pop it, it'll just do a burst of magic damage. So it's actually quite important early game as well. This is what makes Lux extremely strong early, is that passive. If you use an ability and you auto attack, it'll pop the mark and you'll do a lot of damage. You can see there on the dragon, I used the auto attack, it popped and got a burst of damage on the dragon. So we're getting the dragon. That's pretty much the passive. I'll put it up on the screen. There's also some minutiae you can read there for yourselves, but essentially everything you need to know is what I just said. You use a damaging ability, you hit them with an auto attack or the ultimate, and it pops the passive. Consumes the light. All right, so that's very, very easy to understand, hopefully. And you need to pay attention to that in the early game. Late game, it does a lot of damage, but the thing is, late game, other champions tend to have a lot of damage and burst and CC and whatnot and CDR. So if you kind of get out of position with Lux trying to get an auto attack, a greedy auto attack, you might die. So again, with these mages and squishy supports, you need to be positioning perfectly. The one time you step out of position, you can see this game is, I remember the score I finished with, is a very, very good example of positioning, right? If you stick out of position once, and you'll see, it doesn't matter how fed you are, you out of position once, you're dead. So you really need to make sure you're positioning well. You can see we take Sweeper to clear out any vision. Lux is very, very good with keeping vision control. Very important. I must stress that a lot. You want to make sure you're controlling vision so they don't know where you are, and then you can hit them with a bind and combo, because they will not be able to move and they'll take 3/4 of their health if they're squishy. So you can see they're out of position, had to use my flash. Otherwise, Set was about to collapse on me. And because I flashed, they went on to the misfortune, and she might die because of it, right? So, oh, look at this. Ended up getting 2 kills. That was pretty lucky. Double bind on the tower. Ended up being okay because I got the return kills. But you can see, after your flash, and we're going to take Zhonya's as well, that's all your survivability. Like, they're your mistake fix-up things, right? So if you get out of position, you got your flash. See what I mean? You need to control vision. Because if he had no vision there, rather, if I had vision there, I would have known he was standing there, and then I could have bound him easily, because he was just standing still, right? So you need to make sure everything's watered. So what I was saying is, if you have, you need your flash and your Zhonya's, they're going to get you out of there. You get out of jail free cards. You need to make sure you're positioning well, so you don't have to constantly use them. So now we don't have flash, right? So if the enemy team notice that, they could go after me and kill me, because I'm a very immobile champion. The only peel I have is my Q. So if I miss my Q, I'm dead. You see that we use the E to check the bush, and the Dravens there. We'll give the kill to the Yasuo. Even though I got the kill, unfortunately, I think it probably was the red buff or the Scorch that we took in our runes that got that kill. So let's go through the Q, guys. It's called Light Binding. So it's obviously inactive. We'll have an example on the top left. So Lux releases a Spear of Light in a target direction that deals magic damage to the first 2 enemies and roots them for 2 seconds. Very, very simple ability, guys. Remember, it hits minions. So it's enemies, not just champions. So you want to make sure you're hitting it onto enemy champions. You can see there I lined up 2. The ultimates have been fantastic. If they're lining up into choke points like that, you get good value ultimates. It's a nice win more from the Yasuo and allows us to get the kill on the Renata. So now we're 7-0 and 9. We are godlike now, so we're having a nice game. But yeah, it's very, very simple ability, guys. You throw out your Q, it binds, it does magic damage. The most important thing about it is the root. You can see there I tried to hit the Draven, hit the 2 minions. So you need to keep an eye on where all the minions are. What you can do early is throw out an auto attack on a very low minion that's blocking the binding. Say there's 2 minions, one's high health, one's low health, and there's the enemy champion hiding behind the 2 minions. You can throw the auto attack out. It's about to kill the minion. You throw your Q out, and then your auto attack kills that minion, and it doesn't count as one of the minions hit, and then it goes through, the other minion hits the champion, and then you surprise stun them. It's a very little key. It's a very rare situation, but it does happen. So you want to keep your eye on it, just to clear off minions, and then throw your Q after that. So that's the Q, guys. I would have had an example. I have the ability description bottom left. So another thing when you're playing Lux, and this is just true with any sort of mage that you're doing well and you're getting fed and you're snowballing. And I identified that really early, and I bought a Dark Seal. Now, a Dark Seal, if you don't know what it does, is it's a mage item that gets stacks every time you get a kill and assist, and then the higher the stacks, the more magic damage you get. Ability power, and then if you would like, you spend an extra 1,050 gold, I think it is, you can upgrade it to a Magi's, which is what I did here, which is the bottom left item I have in my item bar, and then that stacks all the way up to 25. So the catch is, this is when it's fully stacked, and it's 14 stacks already, which is quite high. When it's fully stacked, it almost has the power of a full item, yet it only costs like 1400 gold. I don't know the exact price. Look at this. You can see vision is so important here. I just throw the ignite out. Xin Zhao's going to come and take it. That's fine. We're already fed. So you can see there, it was on 14 stacks, and then we got an assist that went to 16 stacks, and I believe a kill is worth 4 stacks. The only catch is, if you die, you lose 10 stacks, right? So it's a very high risk, high reward item, but it works perfectly with mages that are long range. Xerath, Lux, Vel'Koz even. They are immobile champions, however, they tend to sit at the back of the fight and do artillery damage. They sit back and just do long range damage. And the reason why it's good is because, in theory, you shouldn't be out of position to die. You should be stacking that sucker up without ever dying, and then getting a free, essentially, item. You can see here the set had to flash, so we just immediately repositioning, right? We're going to back off. We got the range. We outrange all these melee champs. You can see here we're shielding the misfortune with our W, throwing the E's down, landing the Q's, and now you can see we're just cleaning up the fight with the misfortune. Shield her again. So even though we're doing a lot of damage, our shields have been fantastic. Just watching my back, pat myself on the back there. So good shields, probably kept the Lux alive. I think I'm trying to flash Q here. I did hit it. Did I kill her? I didn't have my ultimate. So sad. There we go. We ended up getting with the auto attack. So the light proc ended up getting the kill there. So a little bit aggressive. Now, would I recommend doing that for a kill? It's a nice flashy play for YouTube, but sometimes it's better to hang on to your flash. It might be more useful in a team fight to reposition. That last team fight, if they were a little bit more ham on top of me and I couldn't just run out of the way like I did, I might have had to flash out of the way and then it would have been really helpful. Bang. So you can see there where we use the ultimate, it consumes that Lux, the passive, right? So that's very, very important to remember as well. So I keep saying we're doing well with shielding. What am I talking about? So we're going to talk about Prismatic Barrier, which is the W next. Prismatic Barrier is a very cool ability, which is what gives Lux her kind of support identity, even though I think she's more of a mid laner that does a lot of damage. You can see how much damage we're doing in this game, absolutely slapping. And our Magi's is fully stacked, which is why we have our second item plus Magi's by 22 minutes. Pretty strong build. We're not going to be very, very tough to stop. But anyway, Prismatic Barrier. Lux launches her wand in a target direction, which returns to after reaching maximum range. The wand grants a shield to all allied champions it passes through for 2.5 seconds while it's outgoing. Lux also receives a shield upon releasing the wand and upon its return. The shield can stack up to 2 times. Stacking the previous shield refreshes the duration. So if you send a shield out and it hits someone, it'll shield them for 2.5 seconds. If it comes back and goes through them again, it refreshes the time. It does not give them a brand new shield. I believe it used to. So that was a bit of a surprise when I was reading that. So it just refreshes the duration of the shield, right? So it just shows you how much I care about shielding when I play Lux. I'm more interested in getting kills. It's a kind of nice champion. Lux is a nice champion to play support if you'd rather do damage and carry and have a high ego, if you know what I mean. Because she can do a lot of damage and carry games herself from support just because of her base damage, and if you can get snowballing. Very nice of the Xin Zhao to gesture to give me the blue buff. So we ended up taking it. We line up 2 Qs and we hit them with the Demacia. The snare, the combination with Misfortune is fantastic because we can line up the Qs and then she can hit her ultimate on top of our ultimate and our Q. Enemy team have no chance. Again, vision is important. If they don't know where we are and we can hit the binds, we can absolutely decimate them. So yeah, guys, that's the W. Very, very simple ability. Gives you a shield. The shield strength increases with level, and it obviously scales with AP. So the higher AP you have, the more shield it does. So when I build damage, when I play Lux, I always think in my head, but it's making the shield stronger. So I kind of feel better about it. So you can see here, we're kind of greeding for an inhibitor. We noticed there was 2 bottom. Now they're missing. Yasuo pings that out as well. So they're probably coming after us. They did back, I think. And the Singe is kind of being weird. So I was like, we could kill him, but let's not. I don't really know where they are. And we don't really want to be running through the poison as we run through the poison and miss all of our abilities. Now, you can see this was a bad decision. So Lucky Shen ults me. But we're literally running through the Singe poison, and the Misfortune flashes through as well to try and get this kill. So you can see I nearly hit him with the ultimate there, just the tip. Just trying to chase people is not ideal. You're better off just waiting for a team fight, getting nice damage on everyone instead of just trying to make a pick. The good thing is Yasuo is split pushing, so us wasting time is good because he's going to be able to push and get tower plates and whatnot. All right, beautiful. Making sure we're doing a lot of poke damage before the fight. You can see here was enemy teams posturing for a fight for no reason. I don't know why they're tower diving, despite us having numbers advantage and damage advantage. The set made a bit of an error there. Got his teammate killed. Silly decision. What was I saying? Yes, before a big team fight, you want to be poking as much as you can. The more poke damage or chip damage you can get on the enemy team means that they're weaker for the fight. So you can see here, you have to land your binds when you're getting collapsed on by I wouldn't say an assassin, a bruiser who's trying to close the gap on you and try and get in your face, right? You need to hit your binds, otherwise you will die. If you don't have flash or your Zhonya's, right? So they're my get out of jail free cards if I need them. Okay, so next we're going to go through the E, which is called Lucent Singularity. Lux sends out an abnormal twist of light in a target direction for 5 seconds, so it puts it on the ground for 5 seconds, granting sight of the area. So remember, it gives vision. It also slows the enemy within, and then it can be recast while in a fight or while in flight. So you can recast it in flight or while it's on the ground, and then it'll explode and do magic damage, right, to all enemies within. So it does a lot of AoE damage. So it's why Lux is fantastic in team fights. And it's really easy to poke with this because the range is so big, right? So it's so easy to poke in lane and stack up your spell thieves and just get a general money and poke in the early game. The slow is also nice if you're peeling yourself. You might want to hold off from popping it to let them run through it to slow them. And if you just leave it on the ground after the maximum duration, I think it's 5 seconds, it'll just explode on its own. So you can't just leave it on the ground forever. But that's basically the E. Again, very simple ability. You throw it out, it sits on the floor, you recast it, and it explodes. So when I say recast, you push the button again, you push E again. You can see there, I threw it out, and then I pushed E again. As soon as it hit the ground, then it exploded again. So you can leave it on the ground, as I said, and let it pop automatically, but by then the enemy would usually have run out. If they're standing in it, they're asking for trouble. And then we'll swiftly, move on to Final Spark, which is the ultimate, which is one of the most fun ultimates to use in the game because it's highly satisfying. The cooldown is so low that it's almost like a basic ability. Nice little surprise. There it is there. That's the ultimate. Look at that 30-second cooldown on the ultimate, and we only got like, what? 2 main items. Insane. So let me explain what the ultimate does. And again, I'll have an example on the top left. We just saw it anyway. You'll get plenty of examples of my ultimate this game because it's on such a low cooldown. But anyway, Lux fires a massive laser of light in a light direction that deals magic damage to all enemies hit and briefly reveals them, as well as granting sight of the nearby area. So not only is the ultimate obviously used for damage, right? It has 300 base damage at level 6. Level 1 of the ability, rather. Level 11, it's 400. Level 16, it does 500 base damage, and it scales 100% with AP. So right now it's doing... So we're level 14, and we've got 400 AP. So that means it's doing 400 damage plus 400 AP. So it's doing 800 damage before any resistances. Plus, usually it'll be proccing your light passive, so you can see how much damage it actually does. That's why you can one-shot squishies that don't have a lot of magic resist. So there's the Renata. You could probably get it with the ultimate. There it is there. Bang. Absolutely fried her. Fried her like a... I don't even know what you fry anymore. Like chicken, I guess. Beautiful. Absolutely murdered people with the Qs. Once you hit people with Qs, you let the team follow up. You can see there the Zhonya's. Maybe probably could have saved that, but that's alright. So you can see here 12-0-8. We're doing very, very well. And we're sieging. This game's gone on a little bit longer than it needed to, but we're having a lot of fun with this game. Lux is a very fun champion to play when you're ahead, and a very sad champion to play when you're behind. When you're behind, all you're doing is like a CC bot. You're just trying to hit binds, and hopefully your team can follow up and get kills. When you're fed, you can control everything. You can just absolutely demolish everything with all your spells. So we're just trying to siege here, get some kills so we can end the game. But it might look like we're going to retreat and do Baron, it looks like. So, some more things with the ultimate we can use it for. So, not only is it damage, what I mentioned earlier, it's also good for vision. So, a lot of people will use it to check Baron and to check Dragon if you're not sure where the enemy team is. It's more in a close game when we don't know where everything is. You can use it to steal the Dragon and Baron. I think I did a couple of steals the other day when I was recording for this video. I'm not sure if there was one in this game. So you can steal Barons and Dragons with the ultimate because it does actually a lot of damage. So if the jungler's not paying attention and they miss their smite, your Lux will take the Dragon. Or it could... I've had a situation where it's killed the jungler who was trying to sneak it and they were low and taking the Dragon at the same time, which was insane. But yeah, very, very fun ability to use. You can also use it to clear waves if you're just trying to push really fast. Because it hits in a very straight line and minions come out in a line, you'll clear the whole wave more or less. This might be... I might actually do it right here. Yeah, there you go. So look at that. Can read my own mind. So, you know, we're pushing. We got super minions. We're going to try and push as fast as we can. We're going to get into their base as quick as we can because the Elder Drake is spawning in 30 seconds. So the more pressure we can get in the middle, the easier it's going to be for us to get the Elder Dragon, get pressure so we can get the Elder Dragon. The enemy team are like flanked behind us and we're kind of split off. So this is a bit of a weird situation. So we're a little bit out of position here. So I hit the early Zhonya's in the hopes that my team can come and help me. I think I died. I think this might be my first death. So yeah, terribly out of position. We bind 2. Enemy team should be able to clean up. But you can see here, out of position. We had no Zhonya's. We had no flash. We end up dying. So you can see, doesn't matter how fed you are. 12 kills, 21 assists. You're still a squishy champion. Out of position once and we die. And we give away a massive shutdown to Draven, which is probably the worst champion to give the shutdown to, I guess. Potentially the Sec, because he's looking dangerous. But the enemy ADC is not who you want to give your big shutdowns to, because obviously they scale more with items than anyone on the map. And money gives items, right? So that's basically it with Lux. Very, very simple champion, guys. Not much to her. You want to make sure you're controlling vision, poking as much as you can early, try and win the game, snowball the game as much as you can. Hide in bushes, wait for people to run into you, throw out your Q. So the combo is your Q, then your E, and then your ultimate, and then your E, right? So you can pop your E and then ultimate, or alt then E. It doesn't really matter. Either way, they're going to die. As long as you hit the bind first, so they can't move. If you hit the bind first, you can't miss your ultimate because they're snared. So it's a very, very easy way to burst out the squishies. So we can see here we're going over to the Elder Drake. And me and MF have so much damage we can almost one-shot it ourselves. But the enemy team is coming and we're out of position, so we need to run to our team very fast. And you can see if I can get out of this. So the Shen ult again saves me. And there's my bind came back up. Unfortunately, the enemy team stole the dragon. So again, this game's going a little bit longer than it needed to be, but it's okay. We end up getting 2 kills and we're going to win this fight, despite them having Elder Dragon. But we just need to be careful with our health totals. We have to almost imagine that line is our health. So we're all missing a lot of health when you're... So you can see that they're super low, those two. So Zhonya's perfect timing there, just before that white line gets passed. If that white line goes past, while the enemy team has Elder Drake, an Elder Drake will come and vomit on them and just absolutely destroy them. It literally one-shots them. So if you get them below that threshold, they will die. So you need to make sure... You shouldn't ever fight enemies when they have Elder Drake, really, if you can help it. But we're so far ahead, we can almost beat them through the Elder Drake. And it looks like here we're just going to end the game. So we're going to end the game with our auto attacks. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Oh, God, I remember that. I was Zhonya's for a bit of BM, and I ended up nearly dying, so I had to flash auto attack the Nexus. But we still won the game. Fantastic. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave any comments down below, any questions. I really, really enjoy Lux, and I've been playing her for a very long time. So have all her skins, or most of her skins. I don't know why I said that. That's a bit of a subtle brag, but I use the base skins for these videos so new players can see what they actually look like rather than a fancy version of her wearing pajamas or something like that. But anyway, guys, Lux is a very fun champion. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, at the end of the day, it is nighttime and we have Malphite next. Don't forget, we have Malphite next. So I hope you enjoy that video as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy.